Welcome guys to Terrortown Talk with Coach Rocky Hidalgo. I'm your host Dan Meyers. We're really excited you guys are here. We want to thank our sponsors, Live Oak Agency, Phil over there on St. Simon's Island. We really appreciate your support. And Pyromic, making it go boom all week long. We hope to light up some fireworks this Friday night, Coach. So, Coach, good game last week, Bradwell Institute. What's our takeaways?
Yeah, a little sluggish in the first half, had a little hangover. Second half, I'll credit our defense. Our defense went out and played physical. We separated them from the football. Cannon Warren went up and had a big interception, gave us a short field, able to kind of get some juice, and then we kind of punched it in, took control of the game from there.
Yeah, really hard after that heartbreaking city championship to get back in the groove, start off a little slow. What do we see on offense?
We ran the ball really well in the second half. First half, man, it was just we just couldn't get in a groove. We were doing things we shouldn't have done. I think the one thing we saw on offense was Greg Peacock all night long. Greg is, I've said all year long, he's going to be a star. I mean, we can stop saying gonna. He's a really special player. Stuck his foot in the ground, made some plays. And really excited the fact that we've got him for 3 more years. He's only a freshman. I felt like Zach Ellis went in there, played really well at running back. John Moody's been out with an ankle injury, so Zach went in, carried the load. Zach's been playing running back and slot for us all year long. Did a great job at running back. As did Fred Riles. Went in and played well at running back. Offensive line in the first half. We just weren't blocking correctly. Some things that we had worked on repeatedly, we messed up in the first half. The second half, we figured it out, and we crammed the ball down their throat a little bit and kind of got downhill and got physical with them, and it was a good half of football.
Got back to that good old Rocky ball, just running right down their throat.
If it works, it works.
Yeah, go to the well till it comes dry. On defense, who stood out for you guys this week?
Like I said, Cannon Warren, I think, had a good week. Marshawn Turner's a kid who's a sophomore player, who started his first start. We started 5 sophomores or 5 players their first varsity start Friday night. And Marshawn Turner, Peyton Parker, Tankersley at outside linebacker, Colin Fox at defensive end, and our last one was Greg West at corner. So we started 2 new corners, outside linebacker and inside linebacker, and a guy on the defensive line for a variety of reasons, injuries, and some of them were some discipline issues that we had to take care of. Marshawn went out there. Marshawn played great. He's a kid that shows up every day. I think all those kids, when you look at those young kids, Marshawn, Tank, and Peyton Parker, kids that show up every day. They work incredibly hard. They've gotten better each day, and it's kind of that progress every day. They get a little better, and went out and played great Friday. Marshawn, we're going to start Marshawn at corner this week. He's got a great attitude. I think Peyton Parker, you're probably going to see him starting at inside linebacker. He went out, led the team in tackles, was physical. He obviously has some things to work on, but did a nice job. Colin Fox has been playing a lot of plays for us on the defensive line. Greg West did a nice job at corner out there. So I think when you look at all those things, considering we had so many guys out there playing for the first time, I think our defensively we played pretty well. We gave up a touchdown early, really, and there were 2 penalties, 2 15-yard penalties on that drive that really killed us on that drive. So we've got to eliminate those penalties. But Cannon Warren going out in the second half, man, he fit downhill. He was physical as a tackler, went up and made a big play in pass coverage and intercepted a football. And I'd say he's probably the guy that really stood out on the defensive side of the ball more than anybody.
Fantastic. We're going to pause here for a message from our sponsors.
Hello, Red Terror fans. This is Coach Rock, head coach of the Glen Academy Red Terrors. In my business, there's no better way to ensure victory than having a great game plan and being focused on the details. Phil Setzer of the Live Oak Agency on St. Simon's Island brings the same attention to your insurance needs as the Red Terror staff brings to winning on Friday nights. A locally owned boutique agency, the Live Oak Agency carefully selects its carriers in order to provide you with the best level of service, price, and coverage available. From the basics like home, auto, and boat insurance to your farming, business, or commercial needs, the Live Oak Agency can ensure your interest regardless of the circumstances. Come visit Phil and his staff at 1700 Frederica Road, Suite 202 on St. Simon's Island, or give him a call at 912-434-4220. Live Oak Agency, a proud sponsor of Glen Academy football.
Go Terry. Coach, so coming up this week, we've got homecoming. Big pep rally tomorrow. First one I've been a part of. It's been a couple years since we've had a pep rally. Boys fired up for homecoming game?
They better be. I mean, and I don't know anything about the homecoming festivities. That's kind of not what I do. They tell me you got to be here for this. I show up for it, but that's out of my realm of information. I don't really delve into that. I didn't, honestly, until yesterday, I didn't know we weren't having a homecoming parade. I was like, hey, what time's the homecoming parade Friday? And they're like, we're not having one. I was like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. Because I'm the guy who usually have to arrange transportation. Jeff Burton, if you're out there, usually brings over a big trailer. We put the kids on. And I have to ride behind them and yell at them the whole time to not throw candy at each other or stand up on the trailer. So I'm relieved there's no homecoming parade. But I think the kids will be excited. They should be excited. We got some of our kids are going to be participating in the halftime, homecoming court process, whatever that is. They're going to have some of those guys, and we'll let them get out there in their uniforms and be stinky and nasty, and hopefully we'll get out and play well.
Fantastic. What can we expect to see out of the Mustangs this week?
South Effingham, probably maybe the best player in the region, is playing running back for them. Really, really talented kid. I mean, he's a big kid, physical, breaks a lot of tackles. We have to do a great job of hemming him up. Defensively, it'll be exciting. They run a bear front, a lot of man coverage. They'll get what they call the radar defense, where everybody's up standing around, kind of stemming around the ball, and some of them blitz and some of them drop. I don't know how much they'll use against us. The radar stuff they'll use against us, but they're going to try to come out and stop us from running the football and force us to throw it. We're going to have to make some plays down the field in the passing game. I feel like we got a really good game plan. We got to go out and practice. That's one of the things. And today's Wednesday, we shoot the show. Yesterday was not a particularly good practice, and so our kids have got to show up and practice. That's the thing that practice is more important than the game. If you practice well Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, then you're going to play well. In our practices, we've just been so inconsistent in practice this year, and I think that's why our play's been inconsistent. So we've got to practice, have a great practice today, and a really focused practice on Thursday, and hopefully play great on Friday.
Young offensive line, how are they going to handle that radar defense? Guys walking around, moving around. Good communication, and you zone blocking that?
Both. I mean, I think we have to communicate with each other about where we're going to go. But you have to, if we get a lot of that, we have to help them out. Is the first thing. So they have to stay on their track. So whether it's a gap scheme or a zone scheme, we have to block. Basically, we have to, if we're reach blocking, we got to reach and just keep working up, and whatever color crosses our face, we've got to get a hat on it. If we're down blocking, if it's a gap scheme, it's kind of the same thing, but opposite. We got to block down and kick out the inbound line of scrimmage. We have to give them some things. If we get that radar defense, we have to give them some things to help them deal with it a little bit. Some of our play calling, just a true gap scheme where we're just going to block everybody down and kick the last man out, or we have to get the ball out of the quarterback's hands, because when they're doing that, they're usually playing some type of man coverage, so we can get the ball out of the quarterback's hands in a hurry and hopefully beat any rush and get the ball out to Peacock or Tyson Rooks or David Prince.
Yeah, those guys hopefully going to have a big game against that man defense. Scout team player of the week?
Oh my gosh. Last week, I think if you go out there and you watch our kids practice every week, again, it's our scout team kind of sets the tone for our practices. And when we kind of get out there and compete, it's one of the things we go out there and compete. Our offense and defensive practice improves, and it forces our offense to, the varsity guys to play better. I think a kid that's done a great job on both sides of the football all year long, but really last week was Jack Cheatham at defensive end, gave us a good look at defensive end, and some at tight end. And so he's a kid that's kind of come back out for football. He's a junior, and he's a kid that we started working our plans for next year. So hopefully he'll continue to progress, continue to work hard, and be a big part of what we do next year during the fall.
Yeah, you talk about the scout team setting the mood. I know I was a scout team All-American. Didn't see much of the playing field, but I could run. But Coach loved it because I didn't stop talking.
Oh.
Yeah, I ran my mouth.
So for me, when I did it, I ended up in a physical altercation with a varsity player every day. Every day. And it was, even in college, I ate before, and there'll be some people out there. My freshman year, I got to eat before all the varsity, the older kids, because our defensive coordinator, Leland Smith, he chose who, the order in which we ate breakfast on the road. And I would get to eat first because I got in a physical altercation with a defensive player. And that's how it was. If you got into a physical altercation with a defensive player this week, come eat. And I would be the first one to eat every week because I got in a fight every day at practice, usually with the same two guys. But it's about going out and competing in effort and pushing those guys. And I mean, I'm pig-headed. I don't like to be told what to do, and I don't like people pushing me around. And so I was a great scout team player in both high school and college.
That's fantastic. So we're coming into region play. We've got we got our first region victory. How's region going to shake up this year? We got some competitive teams. We're going to see a lot at the top and a gap in the middle, or
I haven't seen enough of the teams to be able to tell you that. I've seen Brunswick and I've seen South Effingham. I've seen I noticed that Statesboro beat Richmond Hill last week, and I really haven't looked at those teams. I'm not one of those guys that goes through. I know some coaches go through and they watch everybody in the region. I can't do that. I got to watch South Effingham, and I'll worry about Effingham next week, and then Richmond Hill after that, and Statesboro after that. So, when it's all said and done, Brunswick's in the driver's seat. They got to win out, and they're region champs. I mean, it is what it is. We've got to sit here. We've got to take care of our business and go play the games. We've got to play well. We've got to continue to improve, and that's the thing I talk to the kids about. We can't be content to just sit around and go, hey, this is who we are. We got to get better because we have a chance to get in and win these games, get a home playoff game, and you never know what's going to happen in the playoffs when you start playing ball. So for us, I'm never outward in my approach on things. I'm always inward. I worry about us. I worry about what we can do. I know the things that we have to improve to play better, and if we do those things, we'll be really, really good. We're not doing them right now, and so we have to get better at them, and that's one of the things that I'm on the kids every day. They're probably like, Coach is never happy. I'm not happy because we're not playing up to our ability, and screw all those other teams. I'm not interested in them, and I don't care if they're good, bad, or indifferent. I don't care. The only thing I care about is our kids.
Awesome. Great response. We're going to pause again for another message from our sponsor.
This is Coach Rocky Hidalgo of the Glen Academy Red Terrors. When a whistle and a booming voice isn't quite enough, I turn to Pyromic to put on a show. From wedding sparklers to black cats to the Super Shell mortar, the largest reloadable mortar that you can purchase without the ATF coming to kick down your door, Pyromic has that special something that will fit in anyone's budget. For birthdays, anniversaries, corporate events, holidays, or gender reveal parties, Pyromic can help create a lasting memory for all your attendees at a great price. Or maybe you just want to be that guy and light off the Excalibur at 11 o'clock on a Tuesday night. Mike can help with that too. Come out and visit Pyromic on Highway 341 across from the Tractor Supply Company. Go Terrors!
All right, welcome back, guys. So, Coach, I really respect your program. Your goal is to build hard-nosed men. You mentioned earlier we're having some disciplinary issues, that sort of thing. How important is that aspect of coaching to you? I know you're a great X's and O's guys, but you put a lot of emphasis on this hard-nosed men. You handle discipline. It doesn't matter if you're the all-star, you're the bench warmer. You're going to take care of any discipline issues.
Well, I think the one thing that you have to understand is there are times that you have to use discipline as a coach, and there are other times you have to use compassion. Because sometimes some things are out of a kid's control and some things aren't. And sometimes kids make decisions and those decisions hurt the team. And when that happens, they have to be punished. But sometimes adults make decisions for kids, and the kids are handcuffed by that. And that's when you kind of have to have some compassion, understanding. Sometimes kids need to learn by getting punished, and by having consequences. And sometimes they need to be sat down and shown, hey, this is what you did wrong. So I think you have to balance discipline and compassion. I think our staff does a really good job with that. The other side of that is that there's no, football's a really hard sport. And 90% of what you do isn't a whole lot of fun. I mean, you're at practice, your coaches are yelling at you, you're wearing 30 pounds of gear, it's 1,000,000 degrees. People, every time you turn around, some guy's hitting you in the face. So it requires a certain level of physical toughness, but also mental toughness. I mean, people overlook the mental side of the game. And there are a lot of kids and a lot of people who think they are mentally tough. And my job, mental toughness is a skill. It's like hitting a baseball or pitching. It's something that has to be practiced. And if you don't practice being tough, you have no chance of being tough when you need it. And so, we put a lot of emphasis in grit and trying to practice being gritty, making things difficult for our kids and having them push through, coaching their body language. So I think all of those things go in. I think that's one of the reasons why we've been successful at Glenn Academy, is because we've done that. Our kids have bought in, they push themselves. Because we've had some really good players at Glenn, but we haven't had this isn't a program that drips Division I talent. I mean, we've signed 4 Division I players or so in 8 years. I mean, there's a lot of schools that'll sign twice as many as that in a single year. But we've been able to compete against those teams and be successful because we've had kids that bought into the program. They were physically tough. They were focused when they needed to be, and we improved. And discipline is one of those things you either want or you don't. You either accept it or you won't. And can't and won't's the same thing. If a kid won't accept it or can't accept it, it's the same thing. But those kids will usually get you beat. And so what we're trying to do really right now is it's not so much about discipline. In some ways it is. It's about effort for us. We're trying to get kids to have a consistent effort every day. And consistent effort comes with mental focus on what the task at hand is, making sure they're doing all the little things, because the little things are important. I tell the kids all the time is that every football player out there puts their pants on. Everybody does the big stuff. They put their pants on the same way. They buckle their helmet the same way. It's the little things that separates good players and great players, mediocre players from good players. And we have to do those little things, and those little things require discipline.
Amen. Discipline is such a key factor. Coach, speaking of talented guys from the past, who's one guy from your 8 years here at Glenn Academy that you would love to have one more season with?
Oh man, that's a tough decision. I mean, obviously the easy choice would be DJ Dallas, but I could say, Randon Jernigan or Garrison Hurd, Kendall Cross. I mean, Dexter Roberson, Marlon Taylor. I mean, we've had Kane Cruz. There's so many good players that I would take for endos, and obviously probably the easiest choice would be DJ Dallas. I think DJ he's a special player. But in addition to being a special player, his impact on the team, he's so competitive. And what he does in the locker room is the thing that was really special with him. Not so much, I mean, even when DJ didn't get the ball, he made an impact because the stuff he did with the guys around him. He drove those kids, those people around him to be successful. That's the easy choice. But I could say the same thing again about Randon Jernigan. I mean, I'd take either one of those guys back. That's a tough question because all of those guys. The easy choice would be DJ, but there's probably about 20. I'd take Frank Farrell back in a heartbeat. Frank was one of those kids, had a great attitude, went to work, made practice fun. Never regretted having to go out there and really work. Kyle Larson's another kid like that. Zalante Hillary. I mean, it's hard to pick one of those guys. Obviously, you go through. TJ Lewis as a kid recently. TJ was a great player. He was a great player, started for 3 years and did amazing things at Glenn Academy. How do you not pick a guy like that? So that's tough to say.
All right, good. I'm glad I finally almost stumped you on a question. So it's homecoming this week. Fans, we need you out in the stands. We got to pack it up. All those former players that he just listed, if you're not playing college or pro ball somewhere, you need to be there. Come support the team. This is a program. Coach has built a great program. It's time to start giving back, guys. Coach, you got anything else for us?
Man, the ninth grade game is going to be down. It's been moved down to Camden County. We had to cancel our JV game this week. Tank played 4 quarters Friday night. He's our quarterback on the JV, and we can't play him this Thursday. So hopefully we have Colton C back this week. We'll get back into the groove with some JV football after that. But the ninth grade game has been moved to Camden County down there at 5 o'clock on Thursday. And other than that, people need to show up and check out the Terrors and root us on and see who the homecoming queen is going to be. Nobody cares about the homecoming king. It's the homecoming queen.
Not at all.
I don't even think we had a homecoming king in high school. I could be wrong, but I don't even know if we had one. I know there was a queen. Not sure about a king. It wasn't me. It's hard to believe it wasn't me, but it wasn't me.
You had my vote.
I appreciate it.
You had my vote. All right, thanks, guys. Y'all have a great week. This is Terrortown Talk with Coach Rocky Hidalgo. If you'd like to sponsor us, check out Coach Rock's email below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.